Hello, brovs. We're back with more ghost stories. This one from Coffin Hollow and other ghost tales by Ruth and Musick. As I shake this camera because I got no choice, Bubba. What do you think, kitty? You want some tales? Story 47, The Headless Dog of Tug Fork. A schoolhouse used to stand on a little rise near the road leading from Mill Creek to Tug Fork. The house had been gone for many years when people living in the settlement near there began to speak of seeing the headless dog that came out of the heap of stones on the side of the old chimney. The cause of the ghost dog's appearance there has never been explained. Some people hint that long ago, when the country was thinly settled and people were not very inquisitive concerning one another's doings, a traveler and his dog were killed by robbers and buried under the schoolhouse. There are several persons living in Mill Creek, and mind you, this is a book of Appalachian stories, so think Appalachia. There are several persons living in Mill Creek who remember hearing reliable people tell of seeing the spectral dog and even of being followed by it. One man was traveling the road on horseback after dark. Just as he rounded the bend where the old schoolhouse had stood, he plainly saw by the light of the full moon a large black dog coming down the bank from the chimney place. It came into the road and followed him. Having heard of the creature before, the traveler put spurs to his horse and rode rapidly away from the gloomy place. But the dog bounded after him swiftly and actually leaped on the horse's back. What? Behind the frightened man. Casting a glance backward, he saw the ghastly creature sitting calmly behind him, its bloody neck from which the head was missing, almost touching him. The horse apparently was not aware of the horrid spectre, but the man certainly was, although he dared not look behind him the second time until he had reached the settlement several miles away, whereupon he found the dog had vanished. One night nearly 30 years ago, 3 young men were walking home from a meeting on Tug Fork. Their way homeward led past the haunted house site. Probably they had all heard tales about the headless dog and regarded them as made-up stories. They passed the heap of stones on the rise above the road, where they saw nothing unusual by the light of the brightly shining moon. But some distance beyond there, one of the young fellows looked back and noticed a large black dog following close behind them. He called the attention of the others to the animal, and they stopped to observe it more closely. Their observation convinced them that it was the headless dog, and that it cast no shadow on the ground where it walked in the bright moonlight. Without saying much, the young men traveled as rapidly as possible the rest of the way home. But the dog still followed them and even went ahead, gamboling and rolling at their feet. One youth struck at it with a cane, but the cane went through the spectre as though it were a shadow, and stuck in the road. After this, the young men broke into a run, the dog keeping close to them until they reached a creek. Here the dog turned back, evidently very reluctant to do so, as it could be seen in the moonlight to stop now and then and turn in the direction of the terrified youths, who lost no time in widening the distance between themselves and the horrible spectre. And that's the end of that story. All right, that was brief, as most of these stories are. Goodbye, bruv. Goodbye.